We were talking just for a second before the show out there, and you relayed what I hadn't seen Fox and Friends this morning. It's the first time I got a tear to my eye in this whole process.
You welled up a little.
Is that you said that Brian, Steve, Ainsley, and Lawrence came out in my defense this morning as people who had worked with me at Fox.
It wasn't Ainsley. There was a sub in for her.
Oh, it was also amazing from Outnumbered.
I don't know her.
Oh, I know her well. She was with Kaylee. It was Emily Campagno.
Okay.
Emily Campagno. She's wonderful.
They're going out there with unnamed sources. When we sit on the couch with him almost every day, I think it's
for over 10 years.
Yeah, for over 10 years. It just, to me, that is the stunning part, especially when you don't reach out to his co-host of the show for comment to say, hey, what do you guys think about that? No one has been contacted about that. I think that screams that it's a witch hunt.
You can't fill in for Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, work for 8 hours every Sunday, fill in for all of us over the course of 14 years. The way his detractors are describing him, it would be impossible to think he'd still be surviving. But stay out of the marriages. It has nothing to do with this.
The fact that they do that, like, they don't have to do that, but they also know me. And if there's anything people know about me as well, I work really hard to be kind and fair to people. I've been in a tough business advocating on Capitol Hill, tough business pulling triggers as an infantryman, tough business playing basketball at Princeton. Like, there was I sat on the bench for 4 years and told I wasn't good enough to play. You know, like, I'm used to being people coming at me. But the people that know me also know that I'm kind and loyal to people. And I work really hard.
And all I can think is...
And they have my back, and that means a lot.
How are we going to get anybody to volunteer for public service now? Like, you were at Fox. I'm sure you were making 7 figures. And you got offered this amazing opportunity to serve our country again. And you said, yes, sir, I'll do it. And then what happened? They tried to destroy you. They're currently trying to destroy you, not only from this role, but from any job ever again. From going back to Fox if this doesn't work out, from going on to the private sector. You know, he's an alcoholic, philandering, rapist, mismanager of money. I mean, everything they can pile on you, they are piling on you. And all I can think is, who the hell would say yes to working for the government after watching this kind of thing? And it's fine. The audience can make up their own mind about what's real and what's not, but it requires reporting of the other side. And that's why I raise the testimonials that are being given about you. For me, as a friend of yours and as a member of the media, it's stomach turning. It's such a dereliction of duty. So I understand.
Well, it is an arsenal of lies. It is an arsenal of lies. They mobilize to destroy. I've had senators look me in the eye, friends, great, said they're trying to kill you. And when I wake up, I look at my wife and we talk about it. We say, if Donald Trump can do this, if he can fight the way that he's fought with everything they've done to them, then we better learn to be able to fight ourselves. So we don't know precisely how this is all going to play out. I'm going to go up on Capitol Hill, meet with all these senators, keep working hard, try to earn votes, respect the process. The future's in God's hands. And I'm going to put my head on the pillow tonight, content of that. And I pray that he gives me the opportunity to serve my country as the Secretary of Defense. And if he did, I know I'd do a damn good job, and I'd fight like hell. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be able to know I did everything I could in this process, that I told the truth, that I took on the haters and the liars and the media, and there'll be another chapter. God will provide. And you know what? Ultimately, I've got 7 beautiful kids who are going to have an opportunity to fight for the future of our country as well. And that's why I'm doing this. That's who I dedicated my last couple of books to. They're going to have to fight for the Republic too.
Speaking of Ainsley Earhardt on Fox News, after my ending at NBC News, Ainsley is she's an angel.
Yeah, she is.
She sent me this beautiful display of orchids, and the card read, "Give it to God." And that's where you are right now, right? Give it to God. Like, it's too much of a burden to carry yourself. Give it to God. And you know what, Pete? She was 100% right. Like, my own life turned around dramatically from that moment to this. So I feel like whatever God has in store for you, whether it's this job or a different one, but I think it will be this job. I think greatness awaits. Like your newfound look out on life, your newfound connection to him, to your wife, like all of that goodness breeds more goodness. That's my hope for you, and that's my belief too.
And I want to thank everybody out there who's praying for me, who's praying for us, not just from our church or the people that we know in her, but at Fox, across the country. The amount of incoming notes, emails, texts.
You can feel it.
You can feel it. but we need it. That's the shield. That's the armor of God we need. And I just want everybody out there who's doing that to know we are giving it to God.
But less happy would be the confirmation hearings, how you're going to get cross-examined by Democrats, and potentially an FBI investigation. Do you welcome an FBI investigation?
Well, I can't wait for an FBI investigation. Can't wait. How soon can they start?
Really?
Yes, because that gives me an opportunity for them to do a real investigation. So what the media is doing right now is a witch hunt. It's trial by false accusation and lies. The FBI is going to look through and if they do their job properly, which I fully expect they will, they'll talk to everybody and get the full story and a full understanding. That's a report I welcome. So yeah, we're not hiding for that one bit.
Is there a point at which you do what Matt Gaetz did? Too much of a distraction, realize I can't get through, the senators won't do it. Is there a point like that?
I mean, that's the president's call. What I know in this entire process is there's only one man in America that got 76 million votes. One man that American voted for and for change in the Senate and in Washington, D.C. He asked me, I shook his hand, I told him I'd fight like hell for him. If there's a moment where he calls me and says, Pete, attaboy, but you're not the guy, I will salute and say, whatever assignment you need from me next, I'll do it. It's his call, and he's shown great confidence in me, and I respect his perspective on it no matter which way it goes.
Can we spend some time on what you would do in the job?
Sure, please, I'd love that.
The women in combat thing has made some headlines. I've said already that I agree with you on it for various reasons. There have been studies showing that the troops perform more effectively when there is a separation, and women can be extremely effective in supportive roles right around it, but maybe not on the front lines next to the men. Is that a position you still hold?
I wrote a chapter on that in my book, which I would encourage people to read. I'm familiar with the studies that you're talking about because I've studied this issue. What I would say when I step back is that women are already in combat, female engagement teams, fighter pilots, EOD, military police, and they play an indispensable role. My real concern here is not about men or women. The women of the Pentagon and of our military are revered, appreciated, and I will be a Secretary of Defense for them like everybody else, their biggest advocate. All I've really ever cared about is making sure the standards are maintained.
Right.
That men or women, when we look at duty MOSs, jobs in the military, that we're properly assigning a threshold for capability that has nothing to do with gender and only to do with what is needed to do the job effectively. And that means some jobs will be open evenly to flying drones is a very different capacity than carrying a rucksack with 100 pounds in it and a 240 Bravo. That's going to have a different qualification. And if we have the right standard and women meet that standard, Roger, let's go. If they can't, that's a product of physical differences because the standard's high, then that's just the reality. And I think that's an easy way to look at it. But we've seen standards formally and informally be eroded in pursuit of quotas or we need a certain percentage or number here. You can't do that. You got to get rid of all of that, make sure the standards are high and that they're applied properly.
What do you think is the biggest problem with the military today? Like, what's something you'd like to address on day one?
Oh my goodness. It's the charge that the president gave me. The biggest problem is the military has been distracted from its core mission, which is lethality, lethality, lethality. Close with and destroy the enemy. Deter our enemies and then have the ability to defeat them swiftly and come home. That's it. The military is in the business of deterring and fighting wars, killing bad guys. Anything else you're asking it to do is a distraction. So when you're pushing CRT and DEI and all these notions that there's systemic racism, anybody who served in these units, and I've written about this extensively and talked about it, knows that systemic racism is not a problem in our military today. Mm-hmm. In fact, the percentage of racism and extremism in our military is a fraction of what it is in the general public. Thankfully, our military has been a huge part of racial reconciliation in our country from the very beginning. Ask any guy or gal. It's never been about skin color. It's only about green. The color and red that you bleed together. That's it. So CRT, DEI, climate and green initiatives, trans initiatives, all the quotas, get it out. Standards, accountability, meritocracy, lethality. And that also means, by the way, no tolerance for things like sexual assault, no tolerance for things that make us less capable. Mm-hmm. All of that's got to stop, it's got to go, it's got to be dealt with. And so I think my background specifically gives me a chance to focus on the warfighter and readiness. That's what the president has charged me first and foremost to do. And I think when that happens, Megyn, I've already seen the amount of messages I've gotten from guys and gals saying, I wasn't going to join. I'm 18, but I joined because President Trump was elected and you're going to be the Secretary of Defense.
I'm hearing it too.
Or I was going to get out as an E6, but I'm re-upping because I'm ready to go. We are on the cusp of a recruiting renaissance. We will see guys and gals join this military in droves because we still have a lot of we have patriots in this country who want to believe in institutions that have traditionally fought for and defended this nation. It's get back to basics. And there's a lot of other things we can talk about. Back to basics. And when we do that, I know you'll see the vast majority of the Pentagon respond to that as well. Do you think the folks who wear the uniform in Washington, D.C. want to be distracted by other things, or do you think they want to focus on warfighting and lethality? I know the answer to that, and that's coming.
Did you know that American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity? And cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam the FBI calls house stealing. House alarms, doorbell cameras, and deadbolts will not work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff, they're after your equity. If your title is not being monitored, scammers can transfer it into their name and then take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. The best way to protect your equity is with triple lock protection from Home Title Lock. Triple lock protection is 24/7 monitoring, and God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services at no out-of-pocket cost to you. When was the last time you checked on your home title? Likely never. And that's exactly what these scammers are counting on. Make sure you're not already a victim. You can get a free title history report and a 30-day free trial of triple lock protection today by going to HometitleLock.com and using promo code Megyn, or click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code MEGYN, HometitleLock.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.